In the early hours of Saturday morning, December 16th, 2023, Stafford County deputies were called to the home of Michael Robertson Sr. by an Uber driver. Mark Crudis, the Robertsons' family attorney, says the driver believed Robertson had fallen, prompting a welfare check.
Welcome back to another episode of We the People University. My name is Abiyah Israel, former police officer and former sheriff's deputy. Have a very interesting video for you guys today. We're actually going to look at a video where a police officer, former police officer, was shot by a current police officer, sheriff deputies to be exact. We're about to take a look at the Stafford County Sheriff's Office, who arrived on scene because of a welfare check. We always see these welfare checks go completely the wrong way, but this time it was not the family who called the police officers, or the sheriff deputies. It was actually an Uber driver, and we'll get into that in a second. Before we get too far into the video, I want to read this email from a viewer, or a troll, who had some pretty interesting things to say. I want to read this really quickly because I think it's relevant for this video. Let's read this really quickly. You're a Uncle Tom Coon out here giving criminals tips to make a cop job harder than it already is. No wonder your got fired. I'm not even a cop, but knowing what they go through to see coons like you going against them is pathetic. You're gonna get a cop shot one day if you already haven't, because of some dumb criminals seeing the lies you tell in your videos. I hope someone murk your Uncle Tom one day. You're pathetic. Eat a... Well, Brent, a few things. I wasn't fired. I walked away under my own free will, okay? Secondly, the people that watch this channel, they're not criminals, okay? They are viewers of We the People University and law-abiding citizens who are learning and have learned how to protect their rights. How dare you, as a troll, call the people who watch this channel criminals because you want to be what they call a bootlicker. Now, you said that the advice coming from this channel is going to get a police officer shot one day. Well, Brent, that's exactly what we're about to watch. We're about to watch a video where a former police officer or a former sheriff's deputy is shot by a current on-duty sheriff's deputy. And guess what, Brent? It wasn't my advice that got this former deputy shot. It was the tyrannical behavior of current deputies that we see all too often. It's my advice that's trying to help the people fight this type of behavior. Not just my advice, but plenty of auditors and cop watchers and those who cover audits all over YouTube, all over this country. We're trying to fight against what you're saying we're causing, Brent. I want you, Brent, to look at this video, and I want you to decide whether this was a justified shooting or not. And when you decide, and hopefully you're smart enough to figure this part out, when you decide that this was definitely not a justified shooting, this was actually murder, now I want you to rethink the email that you sent, Brent. Let's watch this, and we'll talk more here in a second.
91-year-old Navy veteran and retired deputy say they are fighting for justice after he was shot and killed inside of his Stafford County home. Michael Robertson Sr.'s family is filing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the sheriff's office and sharing his story tonight. They say to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. Jennifer Blake has more.
The family of Michael Robertson Sr. still struggling with his death. They say that he was inside of his home alone when he was shot in the back by a Stafford County deputy as they were conducting a welfare check on him.
In disbelief, trying to understand why a welfare call turned into the sniping of our father through a crack in the door.
In the early hours of Saturday morning, December 16th, 2023, Stafford County deputies were called to the home of Michael Robertson Sr. by an Uber driver. Mark Crudis, the Robertsons' family attorney, says the driver believed Robertson had fallen, prompting a welfare check. As deputies approached the door, one claims to see a gun.
So, Brent, here we have a former sheriff's deputy. Not only that, a former member of the United States Navy who made his way all the way up to the rank of chief. A former chief in the United States Navy who actually probably had some drinks and was being very responsible, called Uber to go home. And once he's home, it's the Uber driver who calls the deputies out to his house. for a welfare check, Brent. Make sure you understand it's a welfare check, okay? So they show up, and like many other welfare checks that we've seen, Brent, they end up killing the person that they're supposed to be checking on, checking the welfare of the person, but yet it turns into a murder. Very interesting, Brent. Okay, with that being said, they show up, and I want to read this portion of the article of what happens next. One of the first deputies on scene was Shabir Wahid. Body-worn camera footage shows Wahid knocking on the Robertsons' front door and immediately announcing there was a gun 3 times before retreating. In the confusion, though, Mr. Robinson said, "Everything, all is good." His specific language, nonetheless. Deputy Wahid fired 3 shots at him with his firearm. All of those shots missed him and went to the side of him. The family's attorney, Mark Crudy, said that after this, someone else at the scene announced that Mr. Robinson had a gun pointed towards another deputy. In response, Deputy Dominic Farrell fired the shot that killed Mr. Robinson. So Brent, I really want you to think about this. A law-abiding citizen, a former chief in the United States Navy, a former deputy. He's being responsible. He takes an Uber home just to be gunned down by current deputies who we see this behavior all the time. They're supposed to be checking on his welfare, but yet they see a gun, and you're going to be surprised by about where they see this gun. It's never, ever, let me be very specific, it's never in his hand, okay? But they see a gun. We do have a Second Amendment right, Brent, that's in something called, I think it's called a Constitution, that talks about this Second Amendment right, that you can actually own a gun, right? You can actually own a gun. But this man, Mr. Robinson, was killed for simply owning a gun, not holding it, not threatening anyone with it, not aiming it at anyone, just simply owning it. And for that reason, he's no longer alive, Brent. And so you believe the people who watch this channel are criminals because we're trying to fight back against the murderous behavior that we see every day. Brent, I really can't say to you what I really want to say to you right now, so I'm just going to continue the video.
All is good. All is good.
Cruda says that was Robertson's rifle sitting on the inside of his home by the closed front door. The attorney says body cam video then shows a deputy claiming Robertson is pointing the gun at them. The released video does not show Robertson holding a rifle.
There's no evidence that he was even holding a gun, let alone pointing a gun via the body camera video.
However, the sheriff's office said at the time, deputies ordered Robertson to put down the weapon multiple times. They say he didn't, they fired. Cruda says those first shots didn't hit Robertson, who started asking why they were shooting. Crudy says shortly after that, a deputy fires the fatal shot.
I don't know. I can't see it.
The barrel is pointing towards the winged.
All right. And when he opens the door, I'm taking the shot.
At some point, I need to know where everybody's located. Shot fired.
Bullet penetrated his back, went upward slightly to the left, and exited through his right throat area. A horrific shot.
And can't help but remember the pool of blood that I had to cover when my family was finally allowed to return to our home nearly 16 hours after Stafford County Sheriff's Office shot him in the back.
His kids, now filing a $77 million lawsuit, found out that he took his last breath later that day, which was his oldest daughter's birthday.
I woke up expecting birthday wishes from my mom, my dad, and my family. And instead, the morning of my birthday began with a call from my mom, sharing my dad had been murdered.
The Stafford County Sheriff's Office says at the time, the deputies were placed on administrative leave. But Curtis tells me that, to his knowledge, they are still employed there. Now, I have reached out to the Sheriff's Office for comment, and I'm waiting to hear back. Jennifer Blake, 12 on your side.
And as you guys heard it, there was a $77 million lawsuit filed in this particular case of the deputies shooting another person, and they had no clue who this was. They didn't know he was a former chief in the United States military. They did not know he was a former deputy. They had no clue who this was, and nor should it matter. I should not have to be a former military member of the military, or a former police officer, or a former anything for that matter, to be treated with respect and for you to understand that my life matters, right? And so in this particular situation, it just goes to show they didn't know, nor did they care. It didn't matter who it was. It doesn't matter. So when we receive emails the way what's saying certain things like you guys are teaching or helping criminals to get officers killed, yeah, that kind of gets under my skin a little bit, because how much more evidence, how much more proof do you need to see with your own two eyes to understand that it's not the officers who are being killed, it's the citizens, it's the people who are in their homes, whether they're a former officer, whether they work at, who knows, some computer company, it doesn't matter. But when you're at home and you're a normal citizen, you're losing your life because you're standing inside of your home, or you're watching TV inside of your home, or because you're just standing on your own property. We have people in this country that are losing their lives every day due to the hands of tyrannical police officers. And then we have idiots like Brent who write in emails talking about we're going to get a cop hurt one day. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm almost at a loss for words in this particular case. When I received this video in my email and I watched it, I'm like, wow, another case of an unarmed individual that loses their life, that lost their life. I actually have another video that I have literally uploaded 8 times that YouTube continues to say I'm not following their guidelines or their policy or whatever the case may be. I uploaded this video about 8 times and it's just not working. So I'm still trying to go through the whole process of getting them to allow me to publish the video without it being age restricted or just blocked altogether, right? And in this video, it's actually a man in his underwear. He's holding nothing. He has no weapon whatsoever. He's in his underwear. Now, did he commit a crime in this video? Yes. Should he go to jail in this particular video? Yes. But did he deserve to die? No. Okay. No. It was an overreach. It was an overreaction by police officers in this particular video. And I'm hoping that I can get this thing up so everyone can see it. And if you're wondering, well, why don't you just upload it anyway? Whenever you upload a video and it gets age restricted, then not that many people are going to see it. And it's not about the views, because you want people to see it so a lot of people can address, or redress the government, call the department, let them know, hey, we won't stand for this. That's the whole point in what we're doing, okay? That's the foundational reason in what we're doing, because we're trying to hold them accountable. And sometimes not only are we fighting against tyranny, we're fighting against YouTube too. So it becomes frustrating at times, but hopefully I can get that out to you guys, and maybe Brent will watch that one as well, and he will see that we're not teaching law-abiding citizens to go out and harm police. We're trying to stop police from harming law-abiding citizens. All right, always know your rights and always report the police. With that being said, We the People University signing off. If you're one of the viewers who reached out saying that you're not getting any of the We the People University notifications, I have a solution. By texting WTPU to 844-764-2158, I can personally notify you whenever we publish videos. Text WTPU to 844-764-2158 and you will receive a text message notification with the link every time we publish a video.